The sun dipped low over the Miami skyline, casting a warm amber glow across the glass facade of Sterling Plaza, a gleaming monument to wealth in the heart of downtown. This wasn't just a mall, it was a cathedral of opulence, where marble floors shimmered under crystal chandeliers and every aisle whispered exclusivity. Into this polished world stepped Lena Harris, a woman whose quiet grace clashed with the surrounding extravagance. At 50, Lena carried herself with the poise of someone who'd faced battles and won. Her long, dark hair flowed down her back, and her simple white t-shirt and worn jeans marked her as an outsider in this temple of luxury. Yet her radiant beauty and unyielding confidence seemed to challenge the air itself. Lena was no stranger to defying expectations. A renowned lawyer, she'd once made a corporate titan crumble on the stand with a single, piercing question. She'd turned down lucrative partnerships to fight for the wrongfully convicted, her courtroom victories the stuff of legend. But today, she craved simplicity, of family dinner with her husband, James, and their 6-year-old daughter, Mia. Her grocery list was modest: salmon, asparagus, sweet potatoes, and sparkling cider for Mia's delight. As she parked her unassuming hatchback among sleek luxury cars, she exhaled, letting the weight of her latest case slip away. Humming a soft jazz tune, she stepped toward the gourmet market, unaware that a storm of prejudice was about to test her resolve. Inside, the market buzzed with curated elegance. The scent of artisanal cheeses mingled with ripe fruit, and shoppers glided through aisles laden with truffle oils and imported wines. Lena pushed her cart forward, her sneakers whispering against the marble. She reached for a bundle of asparagus, its crisp stalks cool under her fingers, but a prickling sensation crawled up her spine. At the aisle's end stood a security guard, Carl, his burly frame rigid, his eyes locked on her with cold intensity. His hand rested on his radio, his stare a silent accusation. Lena offered a polite smile, a reflex honed from years of navigating spaces that questioned her worth, but Carl's gaze didn't waver. Her heart quickened not from fear, but from the sting of recognition. She'd felt this before, the weight of judgment pinned to her skin and clothes. As she moved to the root vegetables, Carl's boots clicked behind her, deliberate and close. Shoppers began to notice. A woman in a sleek blazer, her blonde hair in a tight ponytail, leaned toward her companion and muttered, "What's she doing here? This isn't a discount store." The words sliced through the market's hum, sharp and careless. Lena's fingers tightened around a sweet potato, but she kept her gaze forward, placing it in her cart with deliberate care. A man in a golf shirt, his cart brimming with organic greens, passed by, his eyes lingering on her worn sneakers. "This place used to have standards," he grumbled, his voice low but cutting. Lena's jaw clenched, but she refused to shrink. She wasn't here to prove herself to strangers, yet their stares pressed harder with every step. At the seafood counter, Lena requested a salmon fillet, her voice steady. Carl's shadow loomed closer, his radio crackling. "Got eyes on her. Doesn't fit the profile," he murmured, the words a slap. Lena's chest tightened, not from shame, but from the raw injustice of being marked as an intruder in a place meant for indulgence. She moved to the beverage aisle, reaching for a bottle of sparkling cider, its glass cool against her palm, small joy for Mia. But the whispers grew bolder. A group of young women in designer athleisure giggled near the artisanal sodas. "Bet she's just browsing. No way she can afford this place," one said, her voice dripping with disdain. Lena's humming faltered, but she refused to rush, her dignity a quiet armor. The tension crescendoed at the checkout. The cashier, Sarah, scanned Lena's items with a sneer, her fingers lingering beneath the counter. As Lena passed through the security gate, a shrill beep pierced the air. Carl grabbed her arm, his grip firm, his voice a growl. "I never misjudge a thief," he snarled. The crowd's whispers swelled into a chorus of condemnation. Lena's heart pounded, not from fear, but from the fire kindling within her. She stood tall, her tote resting on the counter, its contents now a lie poised to unravel. The market's fluorescent lights cast stark shadows, and the air crackled with hostility. Then James appeared, his tailored navy suit a stark contrast to the chaos. His presence silenced the murmurs. "You're mistaken," he said, his voice calm but resonant, carrying to every corner of the lane. "This is my wife, Lena Harris, A lawyer who's made Fortune 500 CEOs confess without raising her voice. She's fought for justice in courtrooms you'll never see. Gasps rippled through the crowd. James's eyes pierced the onlookers. And I'm James Harris, chairman of Sterling Enterprises, the company that owns this mall. The revelation was a thunderclap, shattering the market's veneer of judgment. Sarah's hands trembled, her defiance crumbling, while Carl's grip on his radio slackened, his bravado evaporating. James demanded the camera footage, his command absolute. A supervisor, his face ashen, led them to a small security office, the crowd trailing behind, their earlier scorn morphing into uneasy fascination. Inside, monitors flickered to life, revealing the truth. The footage showed Sarah slipping an unscanned jar of caviar into Lena's tote, her smirk a fleeting betrayal. Carl's relentless pursuit through the aisles played out, his radio crackling with biased murmurs. The crowd exhaled in shock, their complicity laid bare. James turned to Sarah, his voice low but unyielding. You framed my wife. He faced Carl. And you judged her without cause, trailing her like a criminal because of her skin and clothes. The crowd stilled, their whispers dying. The blonde woman slipped her phone into her purse, her head bowed. The athleisure group exchanged uneasy glances, their giggles silenced. The man in the golf shirt stared at the floor, his basket a forgotten shield. James's voice rose, addressing the supervisor but loud enough for all to hear. They're terminated, effective immediately. Sterling Plaza doesn't tolerate prejudice. This isn't just about my Wi-Fi, it's about every person you've treated this way. Lena raised a hand, silencing Carl's weak apology. Your apology doesn't erase the harm, she said, her voice clear and cutting. You saw my skin, my clothes, and decided I was less. That's not a mistake. It's a choice. Her words struck deep, a mirror to the crowd's complicity. As Lena and James stepped out of the office, the crowd parted, their gazes a mix of shame and awe. The market's opulence felt hollow now, its chandeliers dimmed by the truth's stark light. Lena's tote swung lightly in her hand, its contents salmon, asparagus, sweet potatoes, Sidera promise kept despite the storm. They walked through the glass doors of Sterling Plaza, the Miami evening unfurling in purples and golds. Lena's hatchback waited, a chariot of triumph. She slid into the driver's seat, James beside her. Home, she said, her voice resolute. James nodded, his warm brown eyes crinkling. Home, he echoed, their fingers entwining like roots of an unshakable tree. Their riverside home glowed warmly against the night. Before Lena could open the car door, Mia burst from the house, her sneakers pounding the gravel. Mommy, she squealed, hurling herself into Lena's arms. Lena knelt, enveloping her, the market's cold judgment erased by Mia's warmth. James ruffled Mia's hair, his laughter grounding them. Inside, the kitchen came alive with the sizzle of salmon, the aroma of roasting vegetables, and the clink of glasses as James poured cider. Mia bounced on a stool, recounting her finger-painting triumph, a soccer goal at recess. Her chatter wove their family closer. At the dining table, scarred with memories of countless meals, Mia raised her glass. To Mommy, the best chef ever. Lena laughed, her heart swelling, the ordeal fading in the glow of her daughter's love. James clinked his glass against hers. To you, he said softly, for turning their prejudice into a lesson. Over dinner, Lena spoke of the market, her voice steady but laced with resolve. It wasn't about me, she said. It was about everyone who's been judged like that, reduced to their skin or clothes. James nodded, his hand covering hers. You showed them grace under fire, Lena. Mia, oblivious to the weight, chimed in. Mommy's a superhero. Laughter filled the room, a shield against the world's harsh edges. On the balcony, the river reflected stars like scattered dreams. James's arms circled Lena's waist, their silence a language of shared strength. The ordeal hadn't broken her, it had sharpened her mission. The Harris Hope Foundation would grow, she vowed, reaching more children, challenging biases, creating spaces where worth was measured by heart, not appearance. Mia's voice called from inside. Mommy, tell me a story. Lena smiled, turning back to the warmth of home. The day's pain had forged new resolve, but her daughter's laughter and James's love made her unstoppable. The river flowed on, carrying her promise to build a world where every soul had a place at the table. This story of Lena's courage challenges us to confront prejudice in our own lives. Have you ever faced judgment for simply being you? How do you stand against injustice or violence in your community? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your voice can spark change. Let's discuss how we can create a world where everyone is valued for who they are, not how they appear.